friends. In a few days, we are going to be together at a yoga retreat. I am so looking forward to our practices and our time together. As is typical of me, I am giving you a little bit of homework to consider. First, I'd like to have you take on big toe pose, whether from a reclined position or a standing position. We'll review them. And some core work from both standing and kneeling options. Let us begin. If I wanted to do big toe pose from standing, and we will explore it with many variations so that we'll surprise ourselves with the fun that we'll have with it. There are three forms: legs straight ahead, out to the side, and across the midline. You're welcome to use a chair or to take the leg that you're placing in the chair and push into the wall. There are many ways to use your props and to adjust the height that might challenge you with the block or a prop at home that you have, and therefore we can find each of us a comfortable challenge. Hang on to the reins, let the shoulder blades really hang on to the reins, drop the hip, lift the ribs, be at your tallest spine, give all four limbs their job. Build up to a minute if you can in this homework time. Make sure that you even up doing the other side, that perhaps you consider spending a little bit more time with the side that is perhaps less willing, that you keep your mind on your body and enjoy feeling your inner strength, that readying that comes from connecting to your essential strength. I always like to start with legs straight ahead. But when you're ready to do leg to the side, and again, you might not need the chair. You might take advantage of the isometric work of pressing your foot into the wall. You might be able to catch the big toe and not need the strap. But note that your standing leg has a neutral turnout, that you are still dropping the hip and lifting the ribs, that your back body holds the reins, and that the free arm has its job. It reaches actively away from the body, and we'll talk about its relationship depending on the angle. If you are using the chair to approximate for a leg across the midline, then you will align in the very same way with leg straight ahead version. Get your bearings, and then begin to allow the upper body to twist in the standing form. So the hand opposite the foot is going to hold the strap for me today. And then rotating, turning on the axis of the spine, keep dropping the hip, lifting the ribs, and allow that free arm its reach if possible, recognizing that you are trying to allow the arms to travel with the line that defines the collarbones, so you're not yanking the arm or the shoulder back. This arm is reaching actively. If it's too much on the shoulder, you can use the hand into the back body to participate in the twist. There are many ways to back off. There are many ways to ask for more, and we will explore many variations. Very nice. If in fact you are practicing readying for our retreat by doing this from the floor, I'm going to encourage you, for the sake of the isometric strengthening, to use a wall. So if by chance I can pretend, I can show with this cabinet being my wall, then I want one foot to align with the cabinet. And I prefer to have my foot just a little bit elevated, because the ideal is to allow the heel to align with the sitting bone. Then that top leg, very similar to what happened when we were standing. Those three forms are leg straight up, shoulder blades are holding the reins, the quadriceps are behaving as if they're trying to help bring the weight of the leg, so it's not just about holding the reins and the leg resisting. And still there's that balance of sitting bone away and creating space in the lumbar spine. You can do the second form of the pose, dropping the leg out to the side. If you happen to have a second wall like I do, or you want to put your foot in the chair, it'll give you a chance perhaps to stay a little longer, but that leg needs to be active. There are advantages and there are ways to use those options, but I'm trying to keep the pelvis still to not tilt laterally while both shoulder blades stay at the floor. Being true to yourself is important. If it is too much on your lower back, then bend in the knee, but keeping the pelvis neutral. Both sides of the pelvis, even with the floor, is important. When you're ready to bring the leg across the midline, remembering that you are aiming to build up to a minute with each one. The hand opposite the foot will hold. If you want to keep this kind on the body, then keep the pelvis even with the floor and align the foot with the opposite shoulder. And just feel how you are still taking on the primary action of sending the sitting bone down, keeping great space in the lumbar spine. If you're ready, however, to explore the rotation, then I'm going to encourage you to prepare this way. Press the bottom foot into the floor. This is my left leg, my right hand is holding. I'm going to shift the pelvis to the left, make space for the rotation, straighten the leg, and then begin to allow the pelvis to rock and roll. I want to come across the midline, keep the shoulder blades at the floor, reach the free arm out actively to counterbalance where this moving leg is going, and eventually, hopefully, come to this place where the pelvis is perpendicular to the floor. Notice how my wall foot turned 45 degrees out. And if by chance you find that your pushing action shifts you away, then you want to wiggle and make sure that you stay with the wall, because it gives you this wonderful leverage, and it's not just about isometric work. It is about being grounded and having control and being able to stay safe in how you stay more in charge of you. As you do this asymmetrical work, make sure that you return in the reverse and that you give yourself the chance to allow the other side to catch up. I'll do my part. There are two more things that I would like to encourage for you to manage. So they involve core work. They need us to come at it from different angles. And the very first one happens to, again, allow the shoulder blades to stay fixed and the lower body to make the rotation. Notice here that I am trying to take the time, giving you time, giving us time together to take on this rotation. It doesn't always have to be about going as far as you absolutely can. Pay attention to the habits in your body that show you tightness or habitual reaction. Sometimes it is how you adjust your head. So again, we are allowing the rotation on the axis of the spine. Now, bring your knees to your chest, keep your arms in this T, flex your feet, and keeping the neck neutral at first, exhale and take your knees toward one elbow, thinking that you are going to bring your knees as close as possible. And then explore turning your head. Exhale to come back to center, and inhale, allowing the knees to go in the other direction. I'd like to ask you on any given day to do 3 repetitions, to use your breath and to be slow and controlled in your movement. If you find that you are willing to do a little bit more, then begin to extend the lever of your legs. Notice that it's a little bit more oblique work. It is not about going just as far, but giving yourself the challenge of the holding position without cinching up or holding tension unnecessarily anywhere else. If, by chance, you know this pose well and you find yourself practicing with the legs long, then I want you, similar to the hand-to-toe pose, to do the following. Lift the pelvis and shift to one side. Remember, you're making room for the rotation. Decide how much you are going to extend the legs. Yeah? Turn the palms up and take this L-shaped position, inviting the feet toward the palm. Please keep the shoulder blades at the floor. Stay in charge of you. Don't hold your breath. And don't make it more than it has to be, especially as you are easing up to asking more of your body. Come back to center. Do exactly the same on the other side. I want to shift the pelvis. Bring the knees in. Begin to decide how far. Exhale to get there. Anchor the shoulder blade. Reach out with both arms as I invite the feet to the palm of the hand. Trying to keep length through the lumbar spine is key. And the longer the lever of the legs, the greater the work. Very nice. The next part needs us to be exactly the other way. So coming into your plank, whether you do this from the chair or whether you do this from the floor, or even if you put your blocks underneath your hands, I want the core work to come from this angle, this relationship to gravity. Going from downward facing dog, from the same place that the feet and the hands are in your plank that defines your downward facing dog. Rise high onto the toes, come over your hands with your shoulders, rock yourself slightly forward, bend in the elbows just a little bit, sneak into your upward facing dog any amount. Decide if you're going to be at the top of your feet and pull yourself forward, and then roll over your toes and come back. But it isn't that I want you to be familiar or remind yourself downward facing dog, plank, upward facing dog, but just to strengthen with it would be fine. What I really want you to manage is to keep your body absolutely still in plank and bring one knee to the chest and take it back. Again, 3 times each side. You are welcome to try it from all fours. To take one leg back, bring the knee toward the chest, no movement in the spine, trying not to tip the pelvis, and then go back slow and controlled, appreciating the core engagement. You are welcome to try this from the use of the chair. So if you will, similar to our Warrior 3, one leg travels back. Pelvis is square with the floor. I want to be absolutely still in the body while just the leg moves, How close can you get without tipping the pelvis? And then slow and controlled, reaching into both inner heels. You are welcome to use the opposite arm reaching forward, to use the chair in this push-pull action, but 3 repetitions to come and go, being absolutely still in the body. You'll find that these poses and preparations will connect you to your core, will be very grounding, and will at the same time be empowering, helping you feel the sense of readiness for us to come and work and enjoy our retreat together. Namaste.